Straight up, I'm going to apologize. About a week ago, a cricket got in the basement here with me, and he just won't shut up tonight. I can't. I can holler at him, whatever. He ain't going to be a pest tonight. I'm redoing this video. I'd already done it once tonight, but when I started editing, my microphone was so popply and crackly and all that. I just deleted it, and I'm starting over right now. I have a lot of trouble with that microphone. So, but let's get going here. The mini Talon on INav. Straight up, this is the new Configurator 3.0.2. I have to say straight up, too, that I was a little shocked tonight. I decided that switching these 4 wires around isn't a big deal. But I also went to look up what I would call this video in YouTube and found a message from JD that says I don't have to do that wire switching around. So I've got some digging to do to find out how do I change output mapping. But I will dig that out, or somebody will help me with it. Anyway, I had decided switching those 4 wires is no big deal, just to quit stalling and go ahead and configure this darn thing in INav. And I was shocked at how easy it was. Anyway, outputs. That old 6 or 8 year old ESC I'm using. That's why it wouldn't configure an RDO very well. That's an old ESC from 6 or 8 years ago. No wonder it won't automatically configure that kind of stuff. Again, right now in here, besides for just telling that it's a standard ESC, I don't think I had much to do. Everyone, please forgive me when I call an ESC, electrical speed controller. I know what it is, but you'll frequently hear me in my videos calling it escape. It's the ESC key on the keyboard of computers I worked on for 40, 50 years. Anytime I see that, I'm used to saying escape to customers when I was helping them with problems and stuff. Hit the escape key. So please forgive me, and I know I'm going to do that for the rest of eternity. I'm going to use ESC and escape accidentally. That's not part of my concussion problem. That's just me. Presets I did, in my opinion. Ports, I came in here. I don't understand why this MSP on UART1, which I'm not using, is set to MSP from default, but I've been leaving it alone. I understand why this one is. This is the USB connection I'm communicating on right now, so I can't touch that one. UART2 is where my GPS is. It's MSP. That's all you have to do for that one. UART3 and UART3 is not being used. UART4 is where I could do that MAV link back over CRSF, but I'm not playing with that again yet. UART5 is really not implemented well on the 765 wing. There may be a receive pin there, but there's not a transmit or a transmit, and not a receive. I don't remember which it is, but I don't think they even implemented it in the firmware after they didn't fully implement it in the hardware. That frequently happens where, well, we can only put a TX or RX pin there. Well, and they make that decision. Then later when they're doing the firmware, they go, it's just, there's already 8 UARTs on this darn thing. We'll fix that later. And it never gets fixed. So I just ignore UART5 on these flight controllers. UART6 is the serial RX, of course. UART7 is the telemetry. Haven't got this quite working yet. I'm going to go back and look at my videos myself of how I made this work before. I thought I just put Mavlink here and 57600, but I've got a red light on the radio and A little bit of a problem there. I'm not quite sure about. UART 8 I set up for smart audio here. I haven't set it up completely. Configuration, I just let it go to the default here. I did have to put in an MSP for the barometer and the speed sensor, airspeed sensor. The barometer picked up itself. I don't have a rangefinder or optical flow sensor. I do know on INav the compass is rotated clockwise 90 degrees. We've talked about that, so I put that in there. Turned on the GPS and MSP mode. Did auto detect for ground assistance, USA. Didn't know much about these two. In my humble opinion, this one doesn't really matter. Might not be true. You remember, I'm a greenhorn. Booton's shop. Low man on the totem pole. I didn't mess with this either. Normally that's -5 time zone from Greenwich Mean Time. For us here where I'm at, Eastern Standard Time, but this doesn't seem to equal that, so I didn't think that would keep me from flying. Didn't do anything with this. Over here, only thing I changed over here, I guess I should look at these right here against the 765 wing, but I haven't yet. Only thing here is I put in my 5800 milliamp hour. I'm going to change that one right there right now from 3.5 to 3.7. My preference. I had not well, I don't like that one particularly too, but I would set that one to like 3.5. But I'll play with those later. Didn't change anything down here, but I was tempted to turn this on so I could play with some LEDs on this at some point on the wings, but I can do that when I'm after get it made and all that thing. That's a down the road project add-on. I thought this throttle voltage compensation was the same as that compass motor compensation. Not probably exactly the same thing, but somewhat similar. There's also compensation in Ardu Pilot for voltage sag, that kind of thing. Guess I better go ahead and click save and reboot here on this window because I changed this value right here, which will give me a good excuse for my question at the end of all of this. Failsafe, I changed return to home instead of land. Wouldn't want it to be out way someplace and failsafe for some reason and just land right there even if it was intact. I might not be able to get there easily, so I'd rather come back to where I am before it does that. And of course this shows verticals over here, but I do think there could be a return to home and land, but we'll look at that later. PID tuning, that don't take place till we start flying. Same with advanced tuning. If I'm skipping over something here, by all means send me a message. Hear my cricket. Advanced tuning in here, the only thing I saw in here that wasn't for setup after a flight was return to home, and I checked 5,000 centimeters to be like 162, 168 feet, something like that, and thought that was just a few feet higher than my 150. So I left that alone. I'm not doing any programming yet. The receiver, I only had to change the CRSF right here and reboot there, and so you can see now I have complete radio control. I haven't set up modes yet. I don't have any adjustments to do yet. GPS, I've had a couple of locks working great. Mission control, that's something I look forward to. OSD, I'll set up in the future. LED strip, if I enable LEDs in configuration, then I'll come in here and do the LED. As you can see now in sensors, if I blow slightly on my airspeed sensor, you can see it works. There you go. In black box, INav seems to like the SD card in this slot. It sees. You reckon that SD card's just too big? I think it's 125 gigabyte. Ardu Pilot might not like a card that big. INav seems to like it. We'll see what happens after the fact. As I come in here, the questions I have, major questions I have, is you save this stuff away so I can flash this chip again back to 0, and then I can get this back. Do you do that with a diff here? Whoops. Don't do it with a diff. Save to file, INav diff. Or do you do that here with a dump and save the dump to file? When I started working with INav 6-8 months ago, there was something about it not working, and I thought it was dump doesn't work. Don't use dump. Where did I see that? I'm going to jump out of this real quick. It's going to reboot the thing. Is it Betaflight or is it? Yeah, because if I come into Betaflight, oh, that's the new Ardu Pilot Configurator. There we go. If I come into Betaflight, this is where I saw it. Thought it was on this page right here where it said don't use dump. Do you have to be connected? Can you connect? Nah. You can't connect this. Anyway, I know I saw some place that said do not use dump, use diff. I don't know if that's in Betaflight, INav, or both. That's my biggest question. So I know that I am getting my stuff saved away so I don't lose what I've done that whole 15 minutes. Because what I did is, oops, not there. Platforms, mini Talon INav. So I've got both a diff and a dump here. It looks like the dump is bigger. So I think this is what saves all my work, like the save to file on Ardu that saves away these perimeter files like this. I don't know if it's either of these, if both of these will work. That's the biggest thing I'm interested in. And then the last thing I've really got a question about is where's the telemetry? Is it just the black box has telemetry in it? You know, with Ardu Pilot, 4 times a second, it can be. You can control how often it does it, and you want to control how often it does it in Ardu Pilot so you don't slow down your ground station and your flight controller by sending too much telemetry. Everything's configurable in Ardu. And it just saves a plethora. I've heard up to 1,200 sensor points 4 times a second, that you can come back later, overlay your gyros on your accelerometers and what you were doing with the stick input, and see what was coming out the output of the flight controller and why you crashed. It's not just for crashes, it's for other things too. It's real powerful. I don't see that here. The telemetry radios to me here only seem to be the USB cable between you and the platform, so you can see your mission and stuff here on this screen. I don't really see telemetry, say. But being a greenhorn, again, I've got a lot to learn. So in closing, I'll just say I'm impressed. This is a lot quicker to set up than Ardu, but doesn't have as much configuration possibilities. You can't play with all the parts as easily, or I understand maybe you can do more in the command line interface, the CLI. But I'm not sure one needs that much configuration. The basis of this is flying around having a good time looking out the FPV camera. It's kind of the old adage, and if you can get it in the air and fly it, you're done. Why sweat the small stuff? Like I say, I'm really impressed right now. I'm really interested in digging deeper. Aside from being able to save hordes of telemetry data to my ground station each second, I don't see a lot that I'm technically missing out on. I really don't. So, what is this up here? Yeah, okay. So, with that, I'm going to say, if anybody can help me with the diff/dump problem, which works, both works, and I'll solve my telemetry problem. And I think JD said something about I don't really have to change the wires. There's a way to do this in here somehow, probably remapping or something. So I will try to dig all that stuff out, and with that, I guess I'll just say thank you.